Alright, so here with an FMC failure, we are tracking inbound to Alpha Alpha Echo VOR on a radial of 360 degrees, which is a course of 180 as you can see, and we are on Warlock. Our intention is to execute an ILS Zulu approach runway 23 via the overhead as cleared by Ahmedabad ATC. This procedure requires us to fly overhead and make the required entry, and once ready to proceed outbound at 2000 feet or above, intercept the VOR radial out of 040 degrees until you capture outbound of 045 on the ILS front course. Now somewhere around 10 PME we will do the outbound preparations. Heading select. Change course to the inbound of the hold. Check Alpha Alpha Echo is tuned and identified. I confirm. ATC clears us to descend 3000 initially. We are on radial 360. Our course outbound is 040. As we know the published entry procedures, this is going to be a teardrop or an offset entry. An offset entry or a teardrop entry requires us to offset our heading 30 degree minus the outbound. This is a standard hold, so we will fly the heading of 190 degrees once we proceed overhead. Time for 1 minute, and then turn right to capture the 040 course. Once we are on the course, we have made the entry, we are able to proceed outbound. We will inform the ATC that we are ready to proceed outbound, and the further clearances will be as per the ATC. At this point, with the heading select, our job is to fly the track line onto the RMI's pointer head. The RMI pointer head is pointing to the Alpha Alpha Echo VOR. If we keep our track line, which compensates for the 18 knots of crosswind that we are experiencing, we will be able to reach overhead the VOR without Warlock. Our outbound preparations are complete. As we proceed overhead, we will enter the cone of confusion. Once we exit the cone of confusion, we should be on 190 degrees, which is 30 degrees minus our outbound of the hold of 220. We will start a timer for 1 minute. What we are looking for is a to from indication on the ND, which will change to 2. The RMI starts changing its position, it will rotate, and the arrow point will also flip. We are overhead, track of 190, and start chrono for 1 minute. It's always a good thing to check for the winds and compensate using the thumb rules as shown here. One minute is now over. We will turn right heading 010, keeps us on a 30 degree intercept to the 040 course. Since we are going to be ready to proceed outbound once we have made this entry, we might as well start configuring our aircraft for the same. We are supposed to leave outbound with flaps 5 and speed 5. CDI is now alive. We will continue to track the head of the CDI until warlock is captured. Once warlock is captured, the aircraft will want to track 040, and now we are ready to proceed outbound. We can select flaps 5 and go ahead with the outbound preparations. These outbound preparations require us to set ILS on one of the sides to be able to track the ILS course. Five miles to overhead, I will now maintain a track on heading select instead of warlock. The upper popped out navigation display is the first officer's display. It is also showing you the ILS course deviation. The one I am primarily using as a pilot flying is the one which is below on the captain's side. That ND is telling me my course of 040, which is where I'm supposed to proceed outbound from the VOR. ATC clears us descent to 2000, which is the platform altitude for this approach. As we see, we are approaching overhead the VOR once again. Once we proceed overhead, we are supposed to leave out on 040 until we capture the ILS of 045, which will be the course for which 225 is set on the pilot monitoring or the first officer side. We can see that ILS is now alive, and we are now capturing it by flying the heading of 045 to keep the CDI centered. In this case, I don't need the VOR anymore because we've already shifted to the ILS, so we can carry out the ILS preparations. Small corrections are to be made when you're this close to the ILS. At 6 miles, we'll carry out the procedure turn by turning right 090 for 1 minute from the start of the turn or 45 seconds from wings level, subject to wind correction once again. 6 DME, right heading 090, start timer for 1 minute. Since we have a tailwind of 16 knots at this point, we will have to reduce our time because it is pushing us. So at 55 seconds, we will begin our left turn on a heading of 270 to intercept the ILS final approach course of 225 degrees. Turning left 270. Localizer is alive and localizer is captured. That shows that our procedure turn was executed perfectly. From this point down, we will be flying a standard ILS approach. Glide slope is alive. Gear down, flaps 15, speed 15. Glide slope is 1 dark, landing flaps 30. Speedway approach. ISROP captured, go around heading and altitude is set, landing